time calls. You watch it. Very much.
Use right. We're gonna be learn. I don't know. Move it in. We will go the same.
Smooth. 1 minute later than usual. I apologize. Welcome to the February 24th, 2023 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. Last one for February, which is wild already. So spring is nigh. Mike and Alex, I believe y'all are the greeters. I'll just have to assume that y'all actually did your job. Eric Marcus, thank you for being ticket master. Pete Mark,
did a good job today, because I wasn't doing it.
he said he didn't do a good job, like too humble. Pete Mark and Mike, thank y'all for the great program and doing on the website. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Denny Darby.
Would you all join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, help us today to see our opening prayer as a conversation. Really believing you, hear us, and care about it, what we say. Remind us that you are the perfect Creator who listens carefully to his children and desires the very best for us. We thank you for for this family of Rotarians to which we belong, and ask that you bless us as we meet together. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I saw Mr. General, with you.
Stop there, James.
Just prepare.
What? You ready, sir?
Just me here.
Oh.
So we're at 65% today, and then we have guest Rotarian Tom Kugler from Fairmont.
Tom, you've been around recently a couple times. One day you can just join. You're always welcome.
Dual membership.
And I'll talk to our speakers, 65% attendance. That's good. So take that upon yourselves. And people came for y'all today, because that's great. So happy that so many people are here. With that, Mr. Don Adams, you ready, sir? Not ready. The performance will like the show. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. What's doing today? Today is February 24th, 2023. As Brandon said, this is the last meeting in February. It's hard to believe. Already going to be the end of the third month here. It's also Forget Me Not Day, International Stand Up to Bullying Day, National Tartar Sauce Day, National Trading Card Day, Skip the Straw Day, Twin Peaks Day. So we have a Twin Peaks here at Beavercreek. I want to go. And World Bartender Day, and I know you're all appreciative of that. Events on this day. In 1779, George Rogers Clark captured Vincennes, Indiana. Making a win for Red Skill. So, 1857, the first perforated U.S. postage stamp was delivered to the government. Now, this is something I didn't know. In 1868, the first U.S. parade with floats was a Mardi Gras in Mobile, Alabama. In 1888, Louisville, Kentucky became the first government in U.S. to adopt Australian ballot, which is one secret ballot on standard voting forms. 1879, the highest price ever paid for a pig was done in Stamford, Texas, $42,500. That was surpassed again in Texas by $56,000. It's like a lot of pork. In 1980, the U.S. hockey team clinched the gold medal with a 4-2 win over Finland at the Lake Placid Winter Olympics, which came after the 4-3 miracle on ice against the Russians. Club, Jim Gunnell had a birthday. Happy birthday, Bert. And anniversary in the club, Stephen Brown, he's here. Hi, there. And Mike Canada's here too. I've never seen that. Same doorbell at the same time. Proud here too. That's what, three times in a row, right? What wasn't we out here? It's a lot of interest from around the world. You'll have to pardon me for this one, though. Stephanie Miko is an influencer, YouTuber, author, and former star of TLC's 90 Day Fiancé. But she recently launched a new business venture after realizing demand was high for a rather unorthodox product. This past November, she found lucrative part-time work modeling and selling her own parts. You can't make this stuff up. She actually made $200,000 selling. And a flight leaving Sudan's capital, Khartoum, was rapidly forced to land last week when a stowaway cat attacked the pilot. And it's no secret that a horse can get ugly, but sometimes they even veer into the ridiculous, as is the case of a Kansas man who asked an Iowa court to approve trial by combat against his ex-wife. He wanted to have a sword battle with her. He was speaking about his wife's attorney mostly. He said, I think I met Mr. Hudson's absurdity with my own absurdity. But she could choose him as his champion. So a couple local news things. This weekend starting tonight at the high school is the weekend of jazz. That goes from 5:30 to 9 tonight, and 8:30 to 5 tomorrow, with a lot of high school jazz bands coming in and performing. And then tomorrow night, from 8 to 10, Sherry Miracle and the Diva Jazz Group is going to be in town. I've heard that they're really pretty good. I just can't say away from these dumb laws. There's just so many of them out there. I'm waiting to get to Ohio so I can talk about Brian.
That'd be great.
Thank you. In Alabama, Anniston, you may not wear blue jeans down Noble Street. And bear wrestling matches are prohibited. Dominoes may not be played on Sunday. It's illegal for a driver to be blindfolded while operating a vehicle. It's illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. You cannot chain your alligator to a fire hydrant. And you may not have an ice cream cone in your back pocket at any time. In Arizona, cars may not be driven in the reverse. Hunting camels is prohibited. It is illegal for men and women over the age of 18 to have less than one missing tooth while smiling. And in law, the decree declares that anyone caught stealing soap must wash with it until it's all used up. So must be pronounced Arkansas, not Arkansas. So it's also illegal to sell or buy blue lights. Some of these are not really good. In California, it's illegal to spit except on baseball diamonds. It's illegal to cry on a witness stand. It's illegal to hunt or set a mousetrap without a hunting license. And women may not drive in a house coat. One Sunday, the priest saw little Davy staring up at the large plaque on the wall of the church foyer. The plaque was covered with names and small flags, American flags around on either side of it. Father Donovan, the boy said, "What is this?" "Well, son, it's a memorial to all the young men and women who died in service." The priest explained. They stood together quietly staring at the memorial plaque for a while. Little Davy softly asked, "Which service? 9 o'clock or 11:30?" Since I have all my elected officials here to run. Once upon a time, there was a king who wanted to go golfing. He called a royal weather forecaster and inquired as to the weather forecast for the next few hours. The weatherman assured him that there was no chance of rain in the coming days. So the king went golfing with his wife, the queen. On the way, he met a farmer on his donkey. Upon seeing the king, the farmer said, "Your Majesty, you should return to the palace at once because in just a short time I expect a huge amount of rain." The king was polite and considerate. He replied, "I hold the palace meteorologist in high regard. He is extensively educated and experienced professional. Besides, I pay him a very high wage. He gave me a very different forecast. I trust him and I will continue on my way." However, a short time later, a torrential rain fell from the sky. King and queen were totally soaked. Their entourage chuckled upon seeing them in such shameful conditions. Furious, the king returned to the palace, gave the order to fire the professional. Then he summoned the farmer and offered him a generous pay raise and a high position to be the forecaster. The farmer said, "Your Majesty, I don't know anything about forecasting. I have to get all my information from my donkey. If I see my donkey's ears drooping, it means it certainly will rain." So the king hired the donkey. And thus began the practice of hiring dumbasses to work at shelter. Since and that practice is unbroken. She stood there, brushing some of the dust from her face and clothes. The young gunslinger stepped out of the saloon with a gun in one hand and a bottle of whiskey in the other. The young gunslinger looked at the old woman and laughed. "Hey, old woman, have you ever danced?" The old woman looked up at the gunslinger and said, "I never did dance, never really wanted to." The crowd gathered as the gunslinger grinned and said, "Well, you're going to dance now." And he started shooting at the old woman's feet. The old woman prospector, not wanting to get her toe blown off, started hopping around. Everybody was laughing. When the last bullet was fired, the young gunslinger, still laughing, holstered his gun, turned around and go back down the saloon. The old woman turned to her pack mule, pulled out a double-barreled shotgun and cocked both barrels. The loud clicks carried through the air, and the crowd stopped laughing immediately. The young gunslinger heard the sounds. He too turned around and stared at the old woman in the large gaping holes of those twin barrels. The barrels of the shotgun never wavered. She quietly said, "Son, have you ever kissed a mule's ass?" The gunslinger swallowed and said, "No, ma'am, I've always wanted to." There's 5 lessons you can learn from this. Never be arrogant. Don't waste ammunition. Whiskey makes you smarter than you think you are. Always make sure you know who has the power. And don't mess with old women. They didn't get old by being stupid. There was a priest who was nervous about hearing confessions for the first time, and he asked an old priest to sit with him by his side as he listened. The new priest heard a couple of confessions, then the old priest asked him to step out of the confessional for a few suggestions. The old priest suggested, "Put your arms across your chest and then rub your chin with one hand." The new priest tried that. Okay. The old priest suggested, "Try saying things like, 'I see,' 'Yes,' 'Go on,' 'I understand,' or 'How do you feel about that?" The new priest said those things. And the old priest said, "Now, don't you think that's a little better than slapping your knee and saying, 'Holy crap, what happened next?'" As I'm leave you with a couple of positive thoughts. Plant your garden and decorate your own soul, because don't wait for someone else to bring you flowers. And there's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve, and that's a fear of failure. Fines for today. You've been dancing in the last month. Not bullet assisted, that's $1. If you've been served by a bartender in the last week, that's $1. If you purchased stamps in the last month, that's $1. If you watched America on Ice live, I say it, but I did, that's $1. If you're your referee event, that's $1. And if you came in late, that's $2. Brandon?
Least is whoever came after me. That is latest today. Yeah, and to our guests, we all joined Rotary to serve our community, but we stayed for the jokes. So that's definitely why we stayed. So, happy folks, who's happy today? Eric Marcus first.
I'm happy to be back from Washington DC, actually really Bristol City, Arlington, at the Hyatt, at the airport where I saw 450 of my closest friends from all over the world at the North American Youth Exchange conference in there. And so it was for all the youth exchangers in North America, which is Canada, the United States, and Mexico, for those who don't know the continent. And so I was there, and it was a lot of fun. We drove both ways. I didn't get stopped at all, and everything's good.
Stephen Brown.
I'm happy to hear and shocked that Eric has 450 friends. No, you had town had a crazy opportunity to go to Arizona for the pre-Super Bowl party. You got to hang out with J.J. Watts and Ray Lewis, and it was pretty amazing. But I'm glad to come back and see that Rotary still thinks.
Wow. Eric was rounding up the nearest 450th, by the way.
I have a couple, and Eric, I know that you have 110,000 friends every Saturday in the fall, so I get it. Okay. So our daughter, who I brought last week, did receive an award on our basketball team this week, which was Art, which is for the hardest working, best teammate, and as a dad and a coach, I'm very proud to hear that. Number two, she did a what's called Eagle Outreach Program, which is more like a passion project. And so she was able to donate preemie bottles as well as over almost $1,000 to Bottles for Benin in Benin, Africa. And then our friend was over there, and so she sent pictures, which made it even more and was pretty awesome. And then is actually our son. It's crazy to hear, and I know all of you remember him from when he was born. He is actually going to celebrate his 10th birthday on Monday. So no, thank you. Wow.
Well, I want to introduce a friend, my guest, Carolyn DeStephanie. She is the Sugar Creek Township trustee. So welcome, Carolyn. My happy buck is girls basketball varsity coach Eric Selhammer. I believe won the GWAC coach of the year. So congratulations to him.
Yeah.
No, I'm not treasurer for our PTO. We've been book bearing for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's been terrible, but we gave away almost $10,000 to the teachers.
Anybody else? Don Adams.
One thing I forgot to mention up there, good luck to the Beavercreek hockey teams tomorrow. I see you in my ears.
Come on, Shannon.
What?
Oh, wait, you're Shannon.
Hockey, sorry. Yeah, I got a hockey thing. It's like we have a sidebar in here, so try to say this weekend they got 5 games. Tonight they play at the Chiller in Springfield. They've got 2 tournaments they're playing in. So tonight is the one tournament. Tomorrow, they've got another game in the same tournament, and then in the afternoon, they've got their state championship. So if they win tomorrow, they've got another game on Sunday, which is again their other state championship game. So they're down to like the last 4 games. So it's kind of getting tight. They're playing Olentangy. They are crazy good. So it should be a really good game.
What position was he playing?
What position do I play? We got to hold the side. The end of the.
Shannon to stand up. They are awesome. I had that information. I didn't know about that other tournament. But if they win Saturday, like you said, that they're playing for the state championship on Sunday, and his boy is doing wonderful on the team. So it's a lot of fun to watch. I have a second happy buck, and that's we and Brian, thank you and your colleagues. We have had the Gene Fisher Memorial segment of 35 approved, and we're going to have the dedication June 30th at the Career Center.
not your career center, the other career center. So we're doing all the planning now. We're gonna do a very nice job for Gene and Gail. He deserves it. I think everyone here knows him. So mark that off on your calendar. We'd like for as many people to be there as possible.
Well, thank you. Did you teach me Sunday? Is it Olin Tangy?
I call them old and tangy.
Went to Ohio State, you call it old and mangy.
Olin Mangy. Well, I didn't know how to say it before, so I'll just take any of those now. So let's see. Oh, I left my drive. So any other happy bucks? Okay, let's see here. I have a ticket. We have it's Queen Park, by the way. We have 3, 2, 4, 4, 7, 3.
What is it, 3 now?
3, 2, 4, 4, 7, 3. Up in front, 7 times.
They're all check it away. I think they're not super guard. They're all hard. Don't hold their own card.
Well, boy, 51 cars.
It's hard to keep it all straight. What grows?
What's the earliest it's ever been won? I think that's like bad luck. If you want on like the first one, like enjoy your $17 pot.
There you go.
So for our guests, we take the proceeds, it's a 50-50, and we use, the winner always takes 50%, and the other 50 goes to our Christmas basket, where we go for Christmas baskets for local residents. Let's see, announcements.
Yeah, no, we pulled that card.
Going once. I do have one. Last week at our board meeting, we discussed the idea that we need to be doing more in our community. For that from people, pandemic kind of put that bit of on pause. We still have some of our things this year. We're getting the pancake breakfast back, and we do a few things, but we want to try to get out in the community more. I felt galvanized afterwards. I went and scheduled us for a trash pickup at Kugler Wetland Reserve on March 26th from 1 to 4, and obviously I'll put that in emails. Again, that's March 26th, it's a Sunday afternoon. I promised her 5 people. I was like, I'd rather sell it low than we come in over, but I think that's gonna be kind of a thing we're looking to do more as these various projects. We know everybody can't make everything, but that if we're just getting them on the calendar and Rotary, getting out there and doing things that impact our community, that's definitely something we want to do more. So you'll see more things like that.
What date was it?
That was March 26th. And it'll likely be at Kugler. It could change again. I'll make sure the details are firm as we get closer, but it'll be 1 to 4 in the afternoon on Sunday. So, okay, with that, anyone have anything else before I do? Yes, Shane.
To piggyback on that, I wanted to thank the club. They sponsored 3 students this year for RILA. We're within the next couple of weeks for RILA, so thank you guys very much for supporting that program. It's funny, I've been in the program so long. This year, my son gets to go, Jack Bales, and then JD Hellison's son, Jacob. So it's kind of nice to actually know some of the kids that go. So thanks again, I appreciate it.
And for guests, everyone, Prairie Youth Leadership Academy, right? Okay, with that, I'd like to introduce our guests. I apologize, it was quite tactically late, not strategic, just tactically late to have a chance to meet you all beforehand. But today our speakers are Elaine Bonner and Dave Shelley from Emerge. If you were here last week, Rick Corrales didn't even know y'all were speaking last week, but he already did your introduction. He was talking y'all up, and it was really nice, and I had to inform him that y'all were speaking this week. So I'm excited about this presentation because I candidly know little, but I was excited when I saw it was the old Greene County Career Center over on Enid a few years ago. When you see something go out like that, you just assume, oh, that's just gonna sit. And that's never a good thing for the county, for the community, but it was taken over by Emerge, and they're doing great things in our community, and I think we're all excited to hear what we all have to say today, so.
Thank you so much. And I don't know how we're going to top that opening monologue, but we will do our best. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much again for letting us talk about the mission of Emerge. My name is Elaine Bonner. I'm the Director of Philanthropy. And just a show of hands, how many people know something about Emerge? Nice. Okay. I also serve, I said that ahead of time, I also serve as the head of marketing and communications. So I'm doing like a 75% job. So thank you. I started this role back in January of 2022. So I've been with Emerge about a year. And it's part of my 33-year journey in the nonprofit world. My co-presenter is Jake Shelley. Jake is our facilities manager. So in addition to overseeing our 200,000 square foot building, which seems like enough, Jake is also a peer support recovery counselor. He recently received his CDCA, which is chemical dependency counseling assistant. He is enrolled at Sinclair. Hold your applause because he is currently enrolled at Sinclair getting his CDCA too. So now go ahead. So Jake told me he's not going to stop until he's Dr. Jake, which I'm sure he's going to be. So,
Yeah, it's an honor to be here to present Emerge. There's been a lot of work in the 2 years that, we can emerge. So it's just an honor to be here and present this to you guys.
So hope changes everything, and that is really the core of Emerge. It sounds like a simple principle, but without it, people give up, get discouraged, resort to unhealthy behaviors, feel like nobody cares, and often they say they have no reason to go on. Our vision is big and bold. So if you've ever been out to Emerge, people say, oh my gosh, how are you even going to do this? It's such a big adventure. But our founders have this vision that once we complete what we want to do at Emerge, they want this to be a replicable model that can be taken anywhere in the country where there's a need to serve people on their recovery journey and youth aging out of foster care. And unfortunately, the need is everywhere. So we call it our Emerge 2.0. But until that happens, we are focused on completing our mission at Emerge.
Yeah, I call our mission pathways to give people opportunities to find dignity and careers and just purpose in lives and give them some direction of their lives back to them.
So and why we are here today is because of these three guys with a big dream who have the faith to step outside of their comfort zones and tackle some very tough issues. So from left to right, it's Doug Van Dyke with Van Martin Roofing, Chris Adams, Narrow Path Plumbing, and Kip Morris with 5 Star Home Services. So these tough issues, you all know that there's a workforce crisis. There's not enough workers with the skills needed to do the job. And particularly in the skilled trades, we're in desperate need of workers. For every 10 workers that are about to retire, there's only 4 to replace them. And what you may not know is there is a need for more comprehensive, holistic continuum of care for youth as they age out of foster care and for those who want long-term recovery. Our founders have successful businesses and basically they want to give back. They want to give this hope to people. And they know it so well because they are all in long-term recovery.
So I've been involved out here since when they got the building. Actually, when I get out there, you couldn't even see the sign right there. The weeds are growing up so much. So there's just so much work been put in out here since they got the building. I know Kid, Doug, and Doug or Chris very well, and it's an honor to kind of be with them. I know they've been second chance employers in with their companies, the whole time, and they kind of got together and they discussed what it would be like to actually have everything on one site. Because a lot of the gifts they have are having to do IOP classes, they're having problems with transportation, and then finding the people that would actually work with them, companies that were understanding and being able to work was kind of a challenge. So that's kind of where the idea came from, to have all this in one site.
So here are some of the harsh statistics. The reality is there's a stigma attached with needing help, especially for those in recovery. There is shame and often denial. This issue affects nearly 2 million Ohioans and impacts 1 in 5 people. And Jake's gonna we talk about holistic a lot, and I kind of want him to touch on what exactly does that mean?
So yeah, I just kind of touched on it, holistic, the recovery, spiritual piece, housing piece, transportation. And and a big thing that we're gonna do out here is the mentor piece, having people pour in and invest in other people, especially the youth aging out of foster care.
So we talk about the 4 pillars of long-term recovery. So there's many recovery programs out there, and they have 30, 60, 90-day programs. But in reality, rebuilding lives is a much longer process. Recovery is not a 30, 60, or 90-day process. This is how Emerge will be unique, allowing our residents to be in our program anywhere from 12 to 18 months. So as Jake mentioned, all services will be under one roof. We're calling it the Emerge ecosystem of care. So we're going to overcome obstacles such as transportation, where those can't get to their treatments, or someone who's at a job and needs to go to a group counseling session during the day. So we are bringing in partners to kind of complete this ecosystem of care. We're going to have an on-site trade school. So that's the beauty of this space, is that it was a trade school and now it will become a trade school again for people who really need these opportunities to get these certifications. Currently, we have GED programs going on at Emerge through Miami Valley Career Technology Center's Aspire program. They've had 2 graduates so far, and they have 6 individuals who are 1 exam away from getting their GED.
So yeah, as I said, the mentors in this program are gonna be what's key, to be able to invest in other people and just reach out and just let somebody know that you actually care about them. The peer recovery support, so we're gonna have a bunch of people out here that are called PRS, peer recovery support specialists. They're actually gonna be assigned to each person. They're gonna provide transportation. They're gonna be providing all the mentoring and stuff. And another thing we're gonna be kind of doing out here is the spiritual faith-based piece, to be able to kind of show them, walk them, introduce them maybe to Jesus or wherever their faith is, and just kind of encourage them along that line too.
So here's our application. It is really the perfect place to have Emerge. So the Greene County Career Center was built at this location for a purpose to serve so many communities. We're a 10-minute drive from Yellow Springs, Xenia, Fairborn, Beavercreek. As far as the many uses of this facility, currently there's more than 100 workers working out of this space in the for-profit businesses at Emerge. So other amenities that are being created will include a cafe, a potential coffee shop, a salon, and other nonprofit partners. So along with being a place of recovery, Emerge will also be a catalyst for workforce development, which is so needed. Also, if you've not been on our grounds, we have 45 acres. So this is a beautiful site for helping people on their recovery journey and taking them away from the distractions of things that might lead them to relapse. We are really excited that Christian Life Center has come along and walked beside us. They granted us $175,000 to really build out what we're calling an outdoor wellness space. We're going to have an outdoor pavilion. We're going to have courts for basketball and pickleball, fire pit area. We're going to have kayaks that will be able to be used on this 4-acre pond. And this is fully stocked with fish. So, what they say about leading a man to fish, we'll be able to actually fish at this site as well.
And I can attest, there's fish in there this big. So yeah, just having this outdoor wellness space and everything, the pond and everything, actually gives opportunity to break the groups and be able to engage people out in, the nature setting, and just move it to a building somewhere and just get out together, going for a hike, and just be able to create relationships through that. Oh, there we go. So some of my stories on how I even came. I know a lot about, especially the youth aging out of foster care, how important just something like this is. So my life, when I was 11, I was put in a children's home,
And then I got a GED when I was 14 and I was in the streets from then on. So most of my life, I've had to basically survive a life instead of, so I've overdosed countless times. I've spent almost half a lifetime in the county jail and in and out of prison. So I'm here to attest how important something like this actually is. And if nobody ever invested in me or mentored me, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So just the complete importance of just being able to give somebody an opportunity to get dignity back. That's the first thing the streets and, things happen out there. Is the first thing that gets stripped of you is your dignity, and if I believe that what everybody had ever said about me or anything, I probably wouldn't be standing here either. We're quick to get labeled the stigma from everything. But really, people encounter a lot of trauma, and trauma manifests itself in many different ways. And just be able to just pour into somebody and give them an opportunity for a purpose in their life. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing now. And that's where Emerge is going to be working.
Thank you, Jacob. It's been such an honor and privilege for me to meet Jacob, and my ideas of people in recovery I'm totally been transformed by getting to know him and getting to know the struggles that they go through. His journey actually started at 5 when something happened, and then it just propelled him into this life of homelessness, something he said to me that drugs made him not feel the pain. So of course you don't want to feel the pain, but then you're in this vicious cycle. So Jake is such an asset to our Emerge community. So these are some of the values that will define Emerge, and these are still in progress as we really find out who we are to our very core. But I think the last one, perseverance, is of utmost importance to what you just heard Jacob talk about, that grit and perseverance to carry on and go through some really, really tough times. So in this 2-year journey at Emerge, I know the founders really believe in perseverance and just doing whatever it takes. So speaking of the founders, one more time, I could just not say enough about these individuals who over $1 million they poured into their own personal resources. And who does that when they have these successful businesses and they could be using it for their own pleasure, but they are definitely purpose over profit, reinvesting in people's lives. I like to call it like human capital. The workforce, building the workforce of people who are often overlooked because of something they did in their background. And I don't know about you, but no one wants to be defined by their worst moment in their life. And that's where these men are leaders in this whole second chance movement. So here's just a little snapshot, hopefully, yeah, there we go, of some of the things that they've personally invested in at Emerge. Of course, purchasing the building, and you can see it went for $1.6 million, which sounds like a fantastic deal for all that acreage and land. But I can tell you that our infrastructure needs are probably around 20 million. So with that cost comes the aging building and the issues. The roof alone is a $2 million investment. Last I checked, it's probably gone up. But one thing that's very exciting is that we would have not been able to move forward without architectural plans and drawings of something of this size and scope. So taking this school building and transforming it into housing for men and women in recovery and youth aging out of foster care. So the architectural drawings for the men's section were over $200,000. So one of the founders, knowing that we can't wait, put down his own funds to get those drawings made. And we're using Levin Porter Architects to do that. So another great thing is that the community has been so behind this. Eric Henry from Green Development shared with me that he has not seen such a groundswell of support as he has seen from Emerge. So last year we were honored to have Governor Mike DeWine and First Lady Fran DeWine visit Emerge. They did fit in a small tour. It was not the main reason for them to be there, but we were the host site for collecting items for Ukraine. And so they were collecting the items and we saw them onto the big semis, but he did get like a 10-minute tour of Emerge, so he knows what's going on. So we have gifts from 300 community partners. So if you can imagine, my job is to get people excited about Emerge, and we have started with a database of 0 supporters. So the fact that we have 300 people invested at this early time, I think is very incredible to that support from the community. And Commissioners, since you're here, just one more shout out. I know that you probably are all aware that Greene County was awarded $33 million from the American Rescue Plan dollars. This was a very proud moment for me to get to thank the commissioners for the award of $1 million to Emerge. So thank you, commissioners, once again. This, and you might have read a few weeks back in the Dayton Daily News that the men's section will be named in honor of the commissioners. So very fitting. So like with all things, costs go up. So my next slide is there's delay. Okay. Well, not the exact slide one, but we'll go with this one. So rising construction costs have elevated our project to about $1.8 million. So again, the founders have stepped up and they have done all of the plumbing as one of their specialties as in kind. Along with that, my job as the director of philanthropy is to bring more people into the fold. So, sorry, I don't have the right slide here. So we've raised, we have about $100,000 left to go of the $1.8 million. This is this wonderful in-kind support from many of our community partners. Cedarville University has donated all of the dorm room furniture for us. So one of their, they were upgrading. So we received 100 dorm room sets, very sturdy. These things will never fall apart. And that will be going into our housing areas.
I just lifted 8 of them yesterday, so.
And this is just a rendering of what the men's recovery space will look like. It's about 10,000 square feet of space. The guys will have their own kitchen, they'll do their laundry, they'll live, eat, and have community here. And we're excited that in probably about 3 months, we're going to be able to bring in our first cohort of men, about 15 men that we're going to start with. I'm going to have Jake speak to kind of where these men will be coming from.
So yeah, so since everyone has been hearing about Emerge, people have been reaching out from the Monday program. It's a community correction center. We've had ODRC, our Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, come out to site. And I think this whole southwest quadrant is going to be serving 12 counties. I think it's like 15 prisons that we're going to be sending people in and kind of getting for guys out there. And just speaking from, personal, as soon as like a Woodhaven's PHP or any other place, as soon as they find out that Emerge is open and the opportunity it provides, the referrals are going to be coming. I foresee a waiting list for about a year to be able to get into Emerge once it starts up.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have that missing link that a lot of recovery places don't have, and that's that vocational piece with the on-site trade schools and the partners in the building that will train and apprentice our workers as well as hire them. I've heard our founders say we won't be able to use all the workers ourselves, and guess what? They're going to share them with the competition, which I think is incredible because everybody needs workers and they want them to be able to have that really great income. The skilled trades, these salaries start at 70,000 and go up from there. So since that project is on the home stretch, I'm still working on that last $50,000 to $100,000. Our sights are set on what's next. So the women's recovery renovation will be I always put plus behind it, $1.5+ million to renovate another 10,000 square foot of space at Emerge. This will house 50 women in recovery. This will be done by a partner called Hope Hub Xenia. And the good news is they have a property in Xenia where they're going to be starting their program on a very small scale. And that's happening in, I believe, a week or two. So they will also be able to use the Emerge campus for clinical services for their women who will be housed in Xenia right now until this build out can be completed. So we also know there is a huge need. My slides are not advancing to help young people aging out of the foster care system, as Jake alluded to. Anyway, you're gonna have to imagine the space. Something's happening with my PowerPoint. So this will be phase 3 and 4, and we will bring in first men aging out of foster care and then women. This project is around a $5 million undertaking because we are creating individual rooms for those who are aging out of foster care.
Yeah, so, speaking from experience, being in putting the children's home, any of these people coming from there are going to be used to kind of a dorm style setting, so their own rooms is very important. Kind of, we wanted to make sure they had their own space and kind of their, own windows are going to be in each room. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. They had anything of their own in foster care, so this will give them that dignity and respect. And I don't know if you guys know much about foster care, but the individuals can't learn to drive. They can't take their own medication. There's so many things that are done for them, but then at age 18, they're kind of thrust out into the world to just live their best lives, and they have no skill sets to do that. Also, 20% off the bat end up homeless because they just don't know what to do next. And 45%, they're 45% more likely to have a substance use disorder. So they will be a great population to serve at Emerge. I know Daybreak does great things in Montgomery County, but they're filled. So we need more services for youth aging out of foster care. So everyone's probably wondering, hey, how are you going to pull this off? This is a huge undertaking. How are you going to finance and make sure this is sustainable? Well, it's going to be a variety of funding streams and as well as community support. That's where we get the village here. So here's an idea of where that money will come from. So the majority of our residents will qualify for Medicaid. So Emerge is in the process of becoming a Medicaid provider, and we project over half of our income will come from billable services. The remaining of the income will be grants, individuals, businesses, events, and rental income. I have to share how wonderful 5 Star is. I told you they're one of the main tenants in the building and one of the businesses from our founders. So last year, they brought their entire team out from Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton. This is 250 employees. They gathered to get a tour of Emerge. They heard personal testimonies of people who are on a great path now because someone gave them a second chance. So we started a payroll deduction program. 95 or so signed up right away. So that's $40,000 for Emerge. With the 5 Star matching it, that's $80,000 right there of income for Emerge. So 50% of the 5 Star team understands this well because they're on a recovery journey. And 5 Star offers so many great advancement opportunities. A third of their employees earn $100,000 or more. So I mentioned events are one way that we're going to generate income. I just want to speak a bit. Last year, we had our first event. We attracted 225 people and raised $125,000 for Emerge. So I hope that you will all save the date for this event and let me know if you're interested in sponsorships for your businesses or how to get involved. So we talked about the businesses at Emerge. We have an entire business corridor, and this is kind of the unique aspect about our campus. So we have nonprofit partners, for-profit businesses, all working together to solve this issue. We do have additional leasable space. If anyone is looking for a place to operate a business out of, the one non-negotiable is that you have to be willing to intern and train and potentially hire our residents that go through the program. So 5 Star Home Services, just a quick shout out to them. They started in Columbus as 5 Star Heating and Air Conditioning, and now they have grouped plumbing, electrical, and HVAC and become 5 Star Home Services. They're a $46 million company with growth potential to $100 million in a couple years. Narrow Path Plumbing is founded by our other founder, Chris Adams. He's merged with 5 Star to kind of offer that complete plumbing, HVAC, and electrical services. Chris also serves as our overseer of all of our building operations. We have SB3 fire suppression, another option for our residents to be trained in this field. And most recently, the Digital Watchman, they were a business operating out of their garage in Xenia. They are now a partner at Emerge. They came to me and they said they want to be a part of something bigger. So they are a great, great addition to our team. I can't get my slide to come up that says this wonderful quote, so I'm going to read it. I don't know. Well, I was going to read it to you. Where is it? Oh. Okay.
Hold on one.
Each one
Back one.
goes to this.
There it is.
No, it was there. Anyway, I'm gonna paraphrase it. It was from Dick Glennon, and he says, we have to put something into the pot. And as businessmen, we have been so blessed by the opportunities we were given that now is our time to kind of circle back and give back. So I know you all know Dick Glennon, such a major philanthropist in Greene County. So how can you all get involved? If you are on LinkedIn, please follow us. We have a pretty good following, and we have a lot of our updates, and you can share news. And this is how we're creating awareness. The more people that know about Emerge, the better for our community and our needs. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter at emergerecoverytrade.com. Down the road, we would love you to come and be a mentor or a volunteer. As always, we would love you to join our Emerge family as an investor and make a gift. Attend our event. Learn about our second chance employer model. If any of you work for businesses that are curious about how this can work, and some of your most loyal employees can be those who are given a second chance. And lastly, if you have not seen Emerge, you will be blown away by the size, the scale, the scope, the vision. I invite you to come out for a tour, wear your walking shoes. It's a large complex, and you can see the progress that we've made in just a very short time. So thank you once again. If there's any questions, we're happy to address those. Thank you. Yes.
What would the typical tenure be for somebody in recovery that's kind of going through the program?
What would it typical
Tenure, I mean, should they be in?
Yes, so what I think this is going to be different, because a lot of programs are 30, 60, 90 days. We look to make it more of a year long, so 12 to 18 months. Also, our founders have what's called silver living homes in the community. So once they kind of graduate from Emerge and are ready for some more independence and to kind of go out on their own, there is kind of like that next step where they're more independent, but then they'll still have resources to connect them to Emerge. And that would be a place where they could save money, you know, so they can maybe buy a house or really move out on their own. So we've really thought about how this is very long-term and how relapse can happen so quickly if there's not enough investment in someone. But thank you for that question. Yes.
I assume on sources, streams of income, the majority of the Medicaid billing would be for counseling services, but do you have like medical services on campus?
We are working with partnerships for that. So as far as we have the clinical services director that has the highest credentials. So he can do some mental health counseling, but we are working with Kettering Health Network and some other partners for the services that we do not have the credentials to provide. So with those kind of partnerships, we will be able to kind of cover all the bases. Sure.
Do you actually do the trade classes there?
Yes.
Farm the people out?
No. Our trade school is run by Kevin Moore, and he worked at Clark State in the trade schools for about 30 years of his life. So he's developing the curriculum. We will be a credentialed trade school. We will be open to the public for those as an option for a trade school, which will be another source of income as well. The classes are now underway for the workers in the building right now that are the HVAC technicians to get some upscaling. We also have so many other partners we're working with for other certifications, because we know the skilled trades won't be for everyone. So we're looking into healthcare, IT, human resources, other options for people aside from the trades, but the trades are really at the heart of what we want to be.
Elaine and Jake, great presentation. I tell people that haven't heard about Emerge or been there, I said, it's kind of like when you go to the Greene County Career Center for the first time. It's a wow factor. First time you go to Emerge, it's a wow factor.
Well, thank you for that. They have that shiny new, I don't know, was it $70 million building? It's very pretty. I'm a little jealous. I've been there, I'm like, everything's new here. But we were getting there, and we are so grateful. Dave Deskins is one of our champions of ours too. And he said, Elaine, this is the perfect use for this building. You know, I know he spent a lot of time there. And his advice for you is don't get weary of sharing the mission, because it's a long journey ahead to raise this amount of funding. But there is no model, no place like this that we know of in the country. So we know that this innovative approach is definitely needed, and we have the right people to do it. But thank you for that.
Unions to help with the training for skill sets, like electricians.
No, and I would be open to learning more about that. So yes, let's talk about that.
I was gonna say, how do you reach people? How do you find people who are ideal candidates for the program?
Jay attested to that. We're already forming a lot of partnerships, and our capacity will be 50. So we already have 15 pretty much set that are going to start, and people will be going at different phases. So some people might only need 9 months. But I think because we have the trade school component and that holistic approach, it's going to be not a problem to, attract people to it. There will be an assessment piece. People are going to want to have this kind of service, and it won't be for everyone. It's for somebody that's highly motivated to change their life. Just as an FYI, we're not a detox center. People won't be coming to us in active addiction. They'll have to have already completed an initial program and then be ready for their next steps. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
I had a question on, when you bring in the women, how about children?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's really set up for women right now, but we're taking a hard look at that. But we do know that we would like a place for, I'm calling it like family reunification. So the guys that are coming, many of them may have children. How do they keep that relationship when they're living at Emerge? So I don't know if you know, like the Irma's house concept, that is visitation that's monitored. I've already talked to Catholic Social Services, do you need a place in Greene County to have that, and could it be at Emerge? But it's a really good point, and getting into daycare and children is just kind of a very large issue, but thank you for bringing that up, because I know that could be a real concern. Yes.
Are there any plans of partnering with trade associations like home builders or associate builders and contractors, or would they be too much of a competitor?
Yeah, I think we would be open to that, but we just recently brought in a board member that's a home builder, and he has 300 contacts in the building world, and he's actually creating an appeal letter, talking to all of them about supporting Emerge. So if you have additional contacts, I'd be very open to that as well. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing what you're doing. That is really incredible, and I know the future for it is very bright. So thank you all. We do a book dedication, I think. Civic, this is the one, I know I was going late here, sorry, you're gonna sign it too, I saw. Okay, I thought it was just. Oh, I see it now too, okay, I wanna make sure both names are in there, so we'll get this to the Beavercreek Library for y'all, so thank y'all so much, and thank you, Beth, for making that happen. Next week's greeters, back over here, the Cusacks are signed up. And next week's speaker is Stephanie Goff, the Greene County engineer. So if you're excited about a project or want to complain that a project hasn't been done, we can also just take the commissioners because I think they're our boss. So yeah, Greene County engineer next week, Stephanie Goff. So I think that's it. Is there anything else for the good of the club? Eric Marcus.
You forgot to mention that tomorrow, Beavercreek Wetlands Association from 10 to 12 at East Lutheran Church has a volunteer rally. If you want to volunteer for the Beavercreek Wetlands, it's a great opportunity to learn what we're doing.
I think it's COI, like as the president, I'm also like hopping for another board I'm on, so it's what I've got you. So, why else? Okay, we usually ask if y'all would like to lead the pledge of allegiance. It's not an F-man.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all at lunch.
Good job. I mean, yeah, you do amazing stories. And here, I'm gonna stop.
Ready?
Yeah, I grew up